Dr. Lisa Winters stared at her computer screen, rubbing her tired eyes as she reviewed the data for the 100th time. The quantum readings from the edge of the solar system made no sense. According to every known law of physics, the patterns she observed were impossible. Yet there they were, dancing across her screen in defiance of everything she understood about the universe. "Dr. Winters, you need to see this," called out her assistant, Ryan Cooper, from the adjacent monitoring station at the Quantum Research Facility in Colorado. "The anomalies are getting stronger." Lisa hurried over to his station, her coffee forgotten on her desk. The readings had increased tenfold in the last hour. Colorful waves of energy pulsed across the screen, forming patterns that seemed to follow some unknown mathematical rule. "Call Meza," she ordered, reaching for the secure phone line. "And get me Dr. Foster from the physics department." Before she could dial, every screen in the facility flickered. The lights dimmed, then brightened, and a low hum filled the air. Outside the facility's windows, the sky turned an impossible shade of purple. "What's happening?" Ryan asked, his voice barely hiding his fear. The answer came in the form of a massive ship that materialized above the facility. It was unlike anything humans had ever built, smooth, organic curves that seemed to bend light around them, with a surface that shifted colors like oil on water. Within minutes, military jets scrambled from nearby bases, but they kept their distance. The alien vessel made no aggressive moves. Instead, it projected a massive hologram visible to everyone in the area. A figure appeared, tall, humanoid, but clearly alien. Its skin had a metallic sheen, and its eyes were completely black. When it spoke, its words were automatically translated into every human language simultaneously. "People of Earth, I am Ambassador Zixtal of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace and wish to welcome humanity into the greater community of spacefaring races." The next few days were a blur of activity. World leaders gathered for emergency meetings while the alien ship remained in orbit. Captain Peter Morrison of the Earth Defense Fleet was assigned to coordinate with the alien visitors, but something about them made him uneasy. "They're too perfect," he told Lisa during a briefing. "Every answer is precisely what we want to hear. It's like they're reading from a script designed to put us at ease." Lisa agreed. The aliens had shared some of their scientific knowledge, but their explanations of transdimensional physics seemed deliberately vague. They classified Earth as a primitive species, citing humanity's limited understanding of quantum mechanics as the reason. "Look at this," Lisa said, showing Peter her original readings from before first contact. "These patterns, they match exactly with the energy signature of their ships. They were here long before they revealed themselves." Peter leaned closer to examine the data. "How long?" "Months, maybe years. They've been studying us. But why hide that fact?" Their questions found answers in unexpected ways. During a tour of the alien vessel, Lisa noticed something odd about their quantum measurement devices. They weren't just observing. They were extracting something from Earth's quantum field. "The readings are all wrong," she whispered to Peter. "They're not here to welcome us. They're mining something from our solar system, something they're trying to hide." Peter nodded slightly, keeping his face neutral for the benefit of their alien hosts. "We need to bring this to the Joint Chiefs. But carefully. If we're right about this, we can't let them know we're onto them." As they left the alien ship, Ambassador Zixtal stopped them. "Dr. Winters, your understanding of quantum mechanics is impressive for your species' development level. Perhaps we could arrange some educational exchanges." Lisa forced a smile. "We would be honored, Ambassador." But the expression in Zixtal's black eyes sent chills down her spine. There was something predatory in that gaze, something that reminded her of a cat watching a mouse. Back on Earth, Peter gathered a small team of trusted scientists and military personnel. They met in a secure underground facility, away from any possible alien surveillance. "We're being played," Peter announced to the group. "The question is, what do they really want from Earth?" Lisa stepped forward, projecting her findings. "Our quantum field is unique. Something about Earth's position in space-time creates patterns they can't replicate. I think they're harvesting these patterns. But for what purpose? Weapons, suggested Colonel Sarah Wright, who had been quietly analyzing alien technology. These patterns could be used to create weapons that operate outside normal physics. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had welcomed the aliens as friends, but they might be dealing with an advanced civilization that saw Earth as nothing more than a resource to be exploited. We need to keep playing along, Peter decided, but we also need to start preparing. If they're lying about this, what else are they lying about? Lisa looked at her data again. There's something else. The way they explain physics. It's wrong. Not just simplified for us, but fundamentally incorrect according to our observations. Either they're deliberately misleading us, or they don't understand it as well as they claim, Peter finished. As the meeting concluded, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was standing on the edge of something momentous. The aliens might see humans as primitive, but they had made a crucial mistake. They had underestimated humanity's capacity to innovate and adapt. Peter caught up with her in the hallway. Dr. Winters, whatever they're planning, we need to be ready. Can you work with our scientists to understand what they're really doing with our quantum field? Lisa nodded. Already on it. And Captain, I think I might have an idea about how we can use their assumptions about us to our advantage. As they parted ways, the purple sky outside seemed to pulse with hidden energy. The Galactic Confederation thought they were dealing with a simple, primitive species. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. In her lab, Lisa began writing new equations, ones that would change humanity's understanding of physics forever. The war hadn't started yet, not officially. But in labs and secret facilities across Earth, humanity was already preparing for a conflict that would rewrite the rules of reality itself. The next morning, as Ambassador Zixtal made another perfectly diplomatic speech about galactic cooperation, Lisa and Peter exchanged knowing looks. The deception wouldn't last forever, but when the truth finally came out, Earth would be ready. The war beyond physics was about to begin, and humanity had no intention of remaining primitive for long. 2 months after first contact, Science Officer Amanda Harris stood in a hidden underground lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, staring at readings that made her blood run cold. The quantum drain on Earth's natural field had increased by 300%. Look at these patterns, she said to Dr. Kevin Foster, who led the secret research facility. They're not just harvesting random quantum energy. They're targeting specific frequencies, the ones unique to Earth. Kevin adjusted his glasses and frowned at the data. The facility, known only as Deep Station 9 to its small staff, had been monitoring the aliens' activities around the clock. Banks of computers hummed in the background, processing vast amounts of data from sensors hidden across the solar system. The Confederation ships are positioning themselves at specific points around Earth, he noted, pulling up a holographic map. If you connect the dots, his fingers traced lines between the alien vessels. Amanda gasped. It's a containment grid. They're not just harvesting. They're trying to trap Earth's quantum field. Their discovery coincided with more disturbing news. The aliens had begun offering advanced technology to Earth's nations, but each piece of tech required special calibration by Confederation engineers. In reality, these devices were being used to expand the harvesting network. Admiral Susan Mitchell arrived at the facility that evening, her face grim. We've intercepted some of their communications, she announced to the assembled team. Our cryptographers finally cracked their basic encryption. It's worse than we thought. She played a recorded conversation between Confederation ships. The translated text appeared on screens around the room. The humans suspect nothing. Their quantum field is the purest we found in 1,000 systems. Once the containment grid is complete, we can begin full extraction. And the natives. Their physics is primitive. They don't even realize their planet is a dimensional anomaly. By the time they understand what's happening, it will be too late. Amanda broke the silence that followed. They're not just taking our quantum energy. They're planning to drain our entire dimensional field. That would. It would destroy Earth, Kevin finished. Or worse, we don't fully understand how our quantum field affects spacetime. Removing it could unravel the fabric of reality in our entire solar system. Admiral Mitchell's expression hardened. Show me everything you've learned about their technology. We need options. Over the next few hours, Amanda and Kevin presented their findings. The Confederation's technology was advanced, but it followed strict patterns. They never deviated from their established scientific principles, even when those principles seemed to contradict what human scientists observed. That's their weakness, Amanda realized. They're so certain of their understanding of physics that they ignore evidence that doesn't fit their theories. But we've seen things in our quantum field that break their rules completely. In a sealed chamber deep within the facility, Kevin revealed their secret weapon. A small device, barely larger than a coffee cup, pulsed with an inner light that seemed to bend space around it. We reversed engineered some of their tech, he explained. But instead of following their rules, we built it based on what we actually observe in Earth's quantum field. It does things their science says are impossible. Admiral Mitchell studied the device. Can we build more? Better than that, Amanda said. We can build bigger ones, and we think we can use them to disrupt their harvesting grid. The Admiral nodded. Get to work. I'll inform the Joint Chiefs. But remember, absolute secrecy. As far as the Confederation knows, we're still their primitive, grateful students. Over the next week, activity in the facility reached fever pitch. Scientists and engineers worked around the clock, building devices that defy the aliens' understanding of physics. They called their creation the quantum mirror, as it reflected and amplified Earth's natural quantum field in ways the Confederation couldn't detect. But time was running out. The aliens' harvesting grid grew stronger each day. Strange disturbances began appearing around the planet. Patches of warped spacetime that the Confederation blamed on natural phenomena. Amanda worked through exhaustion, fueled by coffee and determination. During a rare break, she found Kevin in his lab, poring over ancient physics texts. Look at this, he said, pointing to a theorem from 100 years ago. Our scientists predicted these quantum effects back then, but the ideas were dismissed as impossible. We've been seeing the truth all along. We just didn't believe our own eyes. Because we trusted the Confederation's superior knowledge, Amanda said bitterly. They made us doubt our own science. Their conversation was interrupted by alarms. Admiral Mitchell's voice came over the intercom. All personnel to stations. They're accelerating the harvest. Amanda rushed to her monitoring station. The readings were off the scale. Above Earth, the Confederation ships had begun pulsing with energy, drawing more and more power from the planet's quantum field. They must have detected something, Kevin said, joining her. They know we're onto them. Admiral Mitchell entered the control room. Launch the quantum mirrors, all of them. Now. Across the planet, hidden facilities activated their devices. The tiny machines began their work, strengthening Earth's quantum field and disrupting the aliens' harvest. At first, nothing seemed to happen. Then, one by one, Confederation ships began reporting equipment failures. On the main screen, they watched as the alien vessels struggled to maintain their grid. Ambassador Zixel's face appeared on all channels, his calm facade cracking for the first time. "What have you done?" he demanded. "Your interference could destroy us all." "No," Amanda responded, taking the comm. "Your harvesting grid would have destroyed Earth. We're just protecting ourselves." The ambassador's black eyes widened. "Impossible. Your species cannot comprehend the physics involved, let alone counteract them." Kevin joined the transmission. "We understand more than you think, Ambassador. And we've learned that your understanding of physics isn't as complete as you claim." The Confederation ships began to withdraw, their harvesting grid collapsing. But Amanda knew this wasn't over. They had revealed their hand, shown the aliens that humanity wasn't as primitive as they thought. Admiral Mitchell addressed the room. "They'll be back, and they'll be ready for a fight. But now we know their weaknesses, and we have something they don't: the ability to think beyond their rigid understanding of physics. As the alien ships retreated, Amanda looked at the readings from Earth's quantum field. It was already beginning to stabilize, but patterns were forming that she had never seen before. The battle with the Confederation had changed something fundamental about how their world interacted with spacetime. The war for physics itself is just beginning, she murmured, watching the new quantum patterns dance across her screen. And we're the only ones who know the real rules of the game. In orbit, the last Confederation ship vanished into hyperspace. But on Earth, in hidden labs and secret facilities, humanity's greatest minds were already preparing for their return. The next phase of the war would require more than just defensive measures. It would require humanity to rewrite the laws of physics itself. Dr. John Burke stood before a room full of Earth's top scientists and military leaders, his hand steady as he pulled up the holographic display. 3 months had passed since they'd driven off the Confederation's first attempt to harvest Earth's quantum field, and they'd used that time well. Traditional physics tells us this is impossible, he said, pointing to a complex equation floating in the air. But Earth's unique quantum signature suggests otherwise. We've been thinking too small. Behind him, a prototype ship hung suspended in a massive testing chamber. Unlike conventional spacecraft, its hull rippled with strange energies that seemed to bend light around it. The Confederation uses brute force to push through spacetime, John explained. But we've found a better way. Instead of fighting physics, we work with it. Captain Mary Douglas, chosen to command the first quantum-shifted vessel, stepped forward. Will it work? It already has, John replied with a smile. We've done successful tests up to the moon and back. The ship doesn't just move through space. It rides the natural quantum waves that exist everywhere. The demonstration that followed left the audience speechless. The prototype ship didn't just disappear. It seemed to melt into reality itself, reappearing instantly on the other side of the testing chamber. No flash, no sound, just smooth transition from one point to another. That's impossible, one of the visiting scientists whispered. Only according to the Confederation's physics, John corrected. But they never bothered to really study Earth's quantum field. They just tried to harvest it. We've learned to surf it. Admiral Mitchell, who had been quietly observing, finally spoke up. How many ships can we build? We've got 15 hulls ready for conversion, answered Colonel Ben Harris, head of the secret shipyard buried deep within the asteroid belt. Once we install the quantum drives, they'll be invisible to Confederation sensors. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. While the world's governments maintained a facade of rebuilding after the Confederation's diplomatic incident, humanity's real work happened in hidden facilities across the solar system. Captain Douglas spent countless hours in simulators, learning to pilot a ship that didn't just move through space, but through the quantum fabric of reality itself. The sensation was unlike anything she'd experienced before. It's like learning to swim in air, she told John during a training break. Everything we thought we knew about movement and direction just doesn't apply. That's exactly right, he agreed. The Confederation treats space like a road to be conquered. We're treating it like an ocean to be navigated. Their preparations proved timely. Long-range sensors detected a massive Confederation fleet approaching, far larger than the first contact group. This time, they weren't pretending to be friendly. They're bringing their entire regional fleet, Admiral Mitchell announced during the final briefing. Over 300 ships. They think quantity will overcome whatever defense we used last time. Mary stood at attention. Then let's show them quality matters more than quantity. The quantum mirror fleet is ready. The first battle occurred near Jupiter's orbit. The Confederation fleet emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, their ships arranged in a massive harvesting grid. They expected to find a primitive civilization cowering behind simple defenses. Instead, they found nothing. No ships, no defenses, not even any signs of human activity. Their sensors showed empty space, until Mary gave the order. 15 human ships materialized inside their formation, their quantum drives allowing them to slip between the spaces that the Confederation's science said couldn't exist. Before the aliens could react, the human fleet had already shifted again, appearing behind their lines. "Target their harvesting systems," Mary commanded. "Show them what happens when you try to steal from Earth." The battle that followed would be studied for generations. Confederation ships, for all their advanced technology, couldn't track the human vessels. Every time they fixed their weapons on a target, it would simply cease to exist, reappearing somewhere else in the battlefield. John watched the sensor feeds from Earth, his theories proven right in the most spectacular way possible. The Confederation fleet's rigid formations and predictable tactics were worse than useless against ships that could slide between the quantum streams of spacetime. "They're breaking formation," Colonel Harris reported with satisfaction. "Their combat doctrine can't handle ships that ignore their laws of physics." The battle ended not with a dramatic explosion or a last stand, but with confusion and retreat. The Confederation fleet, unable to engage an enemy they couldn't understand, began to withdraw. But Mary wasn't finished. "All ships, execute Operation Quantum Wake." The 15 human vessels moved in perfect synchronization, their quantum drives creating ripples in spacetime that caught the retreating Confederation ships. The aliens found their hyperspace engines wouldn't engage. The quantum distortions had turned their escape route into a dead end. Admiral Mitchell's voice came over the comm. "Confederation fleet, this is Earth Defense Command. We are prepared to demonstrate more of our primitive understanding of physics unless you agree to negotiations. Real ones this time." The response was immediate. The Confederation fleet powered down their weapons. Their new ambassador, hastily appointed after Zixtel's disgrace, appeared on the screens. "Perhaps," the alien admitted, "we have underestimated your species' capabilities." Back on Earth, John allowed himself a small smile. "They still don't understand. This isn't about capabilities. It's about perspective. They see physics as a set of unchangeable rules. We see it as a sea of possibilities." Mary brought her ship alongside the Confederation flagship, the quantum drive humming quietly. Inside their hulls, human ships carried technological innovations that would reshape humanity's place in the galaxy. But more importantly, they carried a message. Never underestimate a species that refuses to accept impossible as an answer. The war beyond physics had entered a new phase, and humanity was just getting started. The Battle of Proxima Centauri began with a single human ship appearing in the heart of the Confederation's largest military base. To the aliens monitoring their sensors, it seemed to materialize from nothing, defying every law of physics they held sacred. Dr. Eric Matthews watched from the bridge of the Earth vessel Starlight, his quantum detection equipment recording everything. "They still haven't figured out how we do it," he said to Captain Alan Rogers. "Their sensors can't even track our quantum wake." The Confederation's response was predictable. They launched their entire defensive fleet. Hundreds of ships formed up in their standard combat formation, weapons charged and ready. But they were fighting an enemy that simply didn't play by their rules. "Begin the demonstration," Alan ordered, his voice calm. The Starlight didn't just move. It flowed through space like water, riding quantum currents that the Confederation couldn't see or understand. Their weapons, designed to hit targets moving in normal space, passed harmlessly through regions where the human ship had been microseconds before. "Their targeting systems are based on predictive algorithms," Eric explained, monitoring the alien responses. "But you can't predict a path through quantum space if you don't understand how it works." More human ships emerged from quantum space, each one demonstrating capabilities that the Confederation had deemed impossible. Some seemed to exist in multiple places at once. Others curved space around themselves in ways that made their weapons fire in impossible arcs. "They're panicking," reported Lieutenant Ruth Anderson from her tactical station. "Their fleet commanders are requesting instructions from their high command." The Confederation's response came in the form of their newest weapon, a massive ship that they claimed could disrupt any known form of propulsion. It powered up with a surge of energy that would have crippled any conventional drive system. But human ships didn't use conventional drives. "Now, Dr. Matthews," Alan ordered, "show them what we've learned about their physics." Eric activated the device he'd been working on for months. Based on their studies of Confederation technology, they'd discovered that the aliens' understanding of physics was not just limited, it was fundamentally flawed. They saw the universe as a rigid set of rules, never realizing that those rules were more like guidelines. The human fleet shifted into a formation that should have been physically impossible, their quantum drives synchronizing in ways that made space itself ripple. The massive Confederation weapon fired, and its energy dispersed harmlessly into quantum space. Their weapon works by disrupting normal spacetime, Eric explained to the bridge crew. But we're not entirely in normal spacetime anymore. The battle turned into a demonstration of everything the Confederation had wrong about physics. Human ships danced through their formations, appearing and disappearing at will. Traditional combat tactics proved useless against vessels that could exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. "Send the message," Alan commanded. On every Confederation ship, screens came to life showing basic physics equations, but with corrections that revealed how limited their understanding had been. It was both a peace offering and a warning. Humanity knew more about the true nature of reality than they did. The Confederation's response was chaos. Some ships tried to retreat, only to find their hyperspace drives wouldn't function properly in the quantum disturbances the human fleet had created. Others simply powered down, their crews realizing the futility of fighting an enemy that could rewrite physics itself. "Their flagship is requesting communication," Ruth announced. The Confederation's Grand Admiral appeared on their screen, his metallic features showing what passed for shock in his species. "How is this possible? Our understanding of physics is based on 1,000,000 years of science." "That's the problem," Eric replied. "You stopped looking for new answers. You thought you knew everything there was to know about how the universe works. We never made that mistake." Alan stepped forward. "We're not here to fight. We're here to show you that there's more to learn. Your attempt to harvest Earth's quantum field would have failed anyway. You never understood what makes it special." The demonstration at Proxima Centauri became a turning point in galactic history. Word spread quickly through the Confederation about the humans who could ignore the laws of physics. Some called it magic, others called it impossible. But in the quiet of his lab back on Earth, Eric knew the truth was simpler. We just learned to stop telling the universe what it can't do. The aftermath brought rapid changes. The Confederation's leadership, faced with proof that their scientific foundations were incomplete, had to acknowledge that humanity had discovered aspects of physics they had never imagined. "They're asking for our help now," Ruth noted with irony during the post-battle briefing. "The same people who call us primitive want us to teach them." Alan smiled. "And we will. But first, they need to understand that real science never stops questioning, never stops looking for new answers." The Starlight's quantum drive hummed softly as they prepared to return to Earth. In the end, humanity had won their war beyond physics not through superior firepower or advanced technology, but through something much more powerful, the willingness to imagine new possibilities. "Set a course for home," Alan ordered. "Let's show them one more impossible thing before we go." The ship didn't just vanish. It unfolded through quantum space in a display that left the Confederation sensors scrambled for hours. It was a final reminder that in the vast universe, the only true law of physics was that there was always more to learn. Back on Earth, preparations were already beginning for the next phase of human expansion into space. The war beyond physics had changed everything, and humanity was ready to lead the way into a new era of discovery. In his lab, Eric looked at the equation that had started it all, the simple formula that proved the Confederation's physics was incomplete. He smiled, knowing that this was just the beginning. The real adventure would be showing the galaxy that the impossible was just something that hadn't been tried yet. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Confederation's Central Council Chamber had never seen anything quite like this. Ambassador Linda Crawford stood at the podium, unfazed by the thousands of alien representatives watching her. Behind her, a simple demonstration of human quantum technology defied everything they thought they knew about physics. For too long, she began, the Confederation believed it had reached the pinnacle of scientific understanding. Today, we offer a different perspective. The small device floating behind her didn't just hover. It existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously, a physical impossibility according to Confederation science. Yet there it was, proving that impossible things happened when you stopped believing in limitations. The council chamber buzzed with excited whispers from dozens of alien species. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Proxima Centauri, where humanity had demonstrated its mastery of physics beyond conventional understanding. Dr. Paul Carter, head of Earth's new Quantum Physics Institute, stepped forward to join Linda. "We're not here to replace your science," he explained. "We're here to expand it. The universe is far more flexible than anyone imagined." The evidence was undeniable. Human ships now routinely performed maneuvers that Confederation sensors couldn't even track. Earth's quantum field, once targeted for harvesting, had become a source of new scientific principles that were revolutionizing galactic technology. "We propose the establishment of the Human Galactic Physics Exchange Program," Linda announced, "a joint effort to explore the true nature of reality, without preconceptions or limitations." The response was immediate. Species that had once looked down on humanity as primitive now eagerly volunteered to participate. The same drive for knowledge that had led humans to challenge conventional physics now attracted scientists from across the galaxy. At the newly established Quantum Research Center on Luna, alien researchers worked alongside human scientists, learning to see physics in a new way. Dr. Carter watched as a young Confederation scientist experienced quantum navigation for the first time. "It's like learning to think in a new language," the alien said, his metallic features showing amazement. "We were so certain of our understanding that we never questioned it." The changes spread beyond just science. Trade routes that once took weeks to traverse now used human quantum principles to cross vast distances in days. Confederation ships, retrofitted with hybrid technology, learned to surf the quantum currents that humans had discovered. Linda found herself busier than ever, coordinating the exchange of knowledge between Earth and the galaxy at large. But she never forgot the lesson they had learned during the conflict. True strength came not from weapons or technology, but from the ability to see beyond accepted limitations. The Confederation tried to harvest what they didn't understand. She told a group of new alien students, "Now we're all learning together, and the discoveries we're making are beyond anything either of us imagined alone." The quantum physics revolution brought unexpected benefits. Diseases once thought incurable were treated by doctors who could observe quantum interactions in living cells. Energy production soared as power plants tapped into the same principles that drove human starships. Even the Confederation's military, once humbled by human innovation, found new purpose. They became guardians of the quantum lanes, protecting the new trade routes that connected the galaxy in ways previously impossible. Back on Earth, in a quiet moment between meetings, Linda sat with Dr. Carter in the observation dome of the lunar facility. Below them, Earth glowed blue and green, while above, the stars beckoned with new promise. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" she asked. Paul smiled, watching the human ship Quantum shift into view, escorting a Confederation vessel learning the new navigation techniques. "I imagined we'd survive," he said. "I never dreamed we'd end up teaching the teachers." A notification chimed, announcing another breakthrough from one of the joint research teams. A group of human and alien scientists had discovered yet another layer to quantum physics, something that neither civilization had noticed on their own. "That's the real victory," Linda said, reading the report. "Not beating them in battle, but showing them that there's always more to learn." The next decade brought changes that transformed galactic civilization. The rigid hierarchies of the past gave way to a new order based on innovation and cooperation. Species that had once competed now worked together, each bringing their unique perspectives to solve universal challenges. Humanity's role evolved from unexpected defenders of their world to teachers and partners in a grand scientific adventure. The quantum principles they had discovered became the foundation for a new age of exploration and discovery. In the end, the war beyond physics had never really been about conflict at all. It had been about breaking free from the limitations of belief, about daring to imagine that the impossible was merely the beginning of new possibilities. "Ready for the next impossible thing?" Paul asked, as another notification announced a new discovery. Linda nodded, already preparing for the next council meeting, where they would share even more revolutionary findings. The really impossible thing, she said, would be running out of new things to discover. Above them, human and alien ships danced through quantum space, their crews working together to map the true nature of reality. The galaxy had changed, and at the heart of that change was a simple truth. The universe had no limits except those we chose to believe in. As Earth rotated below, its quantum field pulsing with possibilities that had once seemed impossible, Linda smiled. The war was over, but the revolution it had started was just beginning. In laboratories and shipyards across the galaxy, people of all species were learning what humanity had known all along, that the only real law of physics was that there was always more to learn. The age of quantum cooperation had begun, and with it, a future brighter than any single species could have imagined alone.